Hey, I'm Arne, founder and CEO of Academic Labs, and this is probably one of my most important videos I've made so far. Why? Because this has helped some of our customers tremendously in generating a lot more opportunities and sales pipeline. Now, how and why am I sharing this video? A lot of customers and anyone who's kind of supplying the research ecosystem with highly valuable instrumentation services and so on, they all have the same challenge. I reach out to people. You can't rely on inbound anymore, on referrals. You need to do more outbound. It's not the best climate we're in, unfortunately. So I've learned from any kind of customer these days that we all need to do more outbound. We need to reach out to the right people. And there's a few ways. Either you go individually and analyze result by result, or company or research group or researcher one by one to identify who's potentially needing my service the best or the most. And that's where our platform can help, of course, with the tailored search and filtering and analysis of the profiles, and then using the AI maybe to analyze a profile and get the email to reach out. That works well. But then the challenge is more, how do I reach certain volume? In many cases, we've seen it's enough for many, but in other cases, we see people really need to reach out to a lot more people. But then the mass approach is not really helpful. If you're not personalizing, it comes over as a mass email, probably spam. It's not GDPR compliant and doesn't really give you the sustainable results you need. So how can we find something in the middle that does personalization but allows you to scale? And that's kind of the challenge for everyone. And that's where we found a very good approach. I will show you how you can use AI to scale hyper-tailored outreach to people who want to hear from you, plus how to get emails and how to get all that process done in just a couple of minutes. Really, in a couple of minutes, you can write 1,000 tailored emails to those who just got a grant, for example, on, let's say, preclinical studies or IND enabling studies. So let's get started. We do a search for preclinical studies with some flexibility, a proximity search as we call it, or IND enabling studies, and we hit search. 15,000 projects, but not all of them are going on. So let's say we focus on those that are just started in the past year and are maybe yet to start. So 809 projects. Now we can export the participants. So we can export the people. So we select from all these 800 projects, we want to have the people with finding additional emails. So basically I get already email addresses that we have from corresponding authors, websites of groups, etc. We will verify them real time for you, part of your email add-on upon request available. And then we can also try 20 plus data providers to find additional valid emails. And then you get the people, the project, and then the emails. Now, before we want to do that, we want to actually write the emails. So how can we do that? We click on AI. And remember, we here have all these 800 recent projects of the last year and a half on this topic. First things first, we need to come up with emails, but we also need to come up with ways maybe to slice and dice the data to maybe filter for some relevant projects. So we could start by asking in the first option, selecting 50 projects, or maybe we can start with 10, and we just ask, as a preclinical focused CRO trying to research projects where we could offer highly relevant solutions, list the key questions to ask each project to identify signals that could help us qualify the relevancy of this project as an opportunity. So why do I do this? It can be used if you're not, if you need some extra inspiration. So basically I'm asking ChatGPT in this way, but looking at these real projects, what things could I ask? What information is available in these projects? So I could, in the next step, come up with multiple questions to ask hundreds of projects. And I will show that in a second. All right, so this analysis takes about 5 to 20 seconds, depending on the length of the answer and the question. So here you have specific questions like, is it at lead? What kind of stage is it? Are there needs for this kind of developments, etc., etc. So it comes up with actually pretty good questions. That ChatGPT, some of them it comes up with those, but it goes deeper in knowing more of these projects' content that it's analyzing. So what I did is I copied this to a different file, I have here then specific questions. I made them bold, the ones that I want to ask, and I go back to do another type of analysis. I choose now the second type of analysis with AI. So here we're not asking one question, get one answer. Here we can analyze up to 10,000, in most cases 2,000, but we can extend that to 10,000 projects. So in this case, I could do it for 809. Well, let's just do it for 809. Here we go. So now I can ask multiple questions, up to 20 questions. So I'm gonna open up my second screen here, and maybe the first one is write me. So I want to have an icebreaker message. So I add here, give the details of this project, of this preclinical study. Write me a concise, tailored icebreaker sentence for a CRO outreach email that references a specific challenge or milestone, positioning our expertise as directly relevant to their current needs. Come over as helpful, consultative, not salesy, trigger curiosity, and build trust. Now, I also wanted to write a full email. So I have here two prompts that I add. So 1, using the provided project summary, compose a concise, highly tailored cold email from a CRO or from specialized. And this is where you can highlight exactly what you're offering and what your differentiation is, your strengths, etc., your uniqueness. You should, in the email, start with pattern interruption. So people are busy, they get a lot of emails. Now we need to interrupt that pattern, that they notice your email. And how? By referencing specific aspect of the project. Highlight how our expertise or technology or service or solutions can address a current challenge they have or accelerate the research. Include a clear low friction call to action to explore if there's value in collaborating, and end with this email signature. Again, come over as helpful, consultative, not salesy, trigger curiosity, and build trust. I have something similar here, the second prompt. So I like that typically it gives me multiple options for emails to pick from. So the change here is mention a technical hurdle in their project. Make it obvious how critical it is to solve this. So basically push on the pain point or the potential pain point or the risk factor in their project and link that with exactly the offer we bring to them. Make sure you convey credibility and a collaborative tone, etc. That's at least how I like to communicate. But that's, of course, you can play with this as however you want. And now we can add additional questions, and that could be more qualifying questions. So, for example, is there a need for GLP compliant studies? Which ones? We can play with what types of data are being generated in this project. Are there needs for specialized assays, imaging, or analytics? Is there a company involved? Because it could be also academics that are doing this kind of work. Mentioned in the company name. What kind of stage is it? Is it an early discovery, lead optimization, etc.? What's the specific hypothesis? We can add what animal. So as you can see, you can play with different things here. Let's also ask this one as a last question. So what happens now? I ask these questions. I can click now and show preview. So it's now analyzing the first 5 projects to answer basically all these questions, write this tailored email, etc. Write this tailored one sentence opener. And that takes, again, between 5 and 20 seconds. Here we go. So for the first one, it's an IND-enabling study for new therapeutic for alcohol use disorder. I know it's developing and validating both these assays. Happy to share insights on optimizing these methods for robust. And then an email. I saw you're tackling critical step for our team is specialized in rapid, these kind of things, helping you with confidence. Would be worth a quick call. Then the second option, and it gives also nicely the signature. Then I also here I noticed your hinge on developing, so hinges on that I can make or break. So it really emphasizes what I asked it to do. ensuring, and then you basically offer this kind of service that takes away this risk. So build up, identify the pain, potential pain, push on that button, and come up with, or be the hero of the story, basically. Is GLP compliance required? Yes. What exactly? Data types. We see some extra here. It's stress therapeutics, IND enabling, 2 animal species not specified. It's a novel method, and so on. So it pulls this out, all of these projects, and structures this for you. We could have asked for the money in, for example, USD value or in euro value, to also extract that, because sometimes the data points are in yen, for example. So let's say we're happy, we don't want to change the question, we can just click on download. So what happens now? These 809 projects are sent via API to OpenAI's most advanced, or one of their more advanced models, especially the ones for this kind of analysis. And now it's in a secure way, of course. And then in this way, you can see already 50 of the projects are being analyzed with the answers to the questions and with the emails written out. So 100 are done. So you can see it's about 5 to 10 seconds to do 100 of these. I'm just going to pause here to not make the video too boring. And as it's analyzing these ones, I just want to highlight, for example, the export I did for the emails. So in this case, I added for the same query, I chose to export for the most recent 100 projects, or I think, or the most relevant 100 projects, to extract the context. So it's 144 contexts of those 100 projects. We still see the query and so on. And then we have a 1 row per person in those projects with affiliation, the name, the country, US state, city, etc. if available. These are things we can further expand later on with some additional integrations. And then most importantly here, the emails that have been identified, found and verified when creating this export file means we test these 20 different email finder solutions to identify an email address. So let's see for the coverage. Seems pretty good. So for most of the projects, like the far majority, we seem to have identified a valid email. So these ones you could immediately start using them to reach out to them with the tailored email that we're creating. You can also see what's the role. You still see what's the title of the project, the funding source, how much money they got, what are the organizations involved, so the city of the company, etc., or the university, description of the project, and the link to the project, etc. So you can still use all this information if you to personalize in a different way. That is possible. You can export contacts and load that up in some other system. Let's see where we are. So it's just finished. So we have here, so the AI just finished with its analysis. So here we go. We have here, so it's, we need to show it here. So here we have the questions that we asked. So we can still review exactly the questions we asked and the query, the filtering, the sorting, the link to the results. And as you might notice, these column names are actually short variations of questions we asked. So we can now have an AI answer for each project. Each row is a project. So we see what's the icebreaker, email 1, email 2, GLP compliance, and so on. So we see all the answers here. We can go to the right to then find the information on the projects. So as you can see here, we have now these projects. We have that other file with the contacts. So we could now use a VLOOKUP to append, for example, the emails to that other file where we have the contact details. So let's say I want to filter by only those where GLP compliance is required. So then I have 621 of the 809. That's maybe the ones I want to focus on or prioritize. I could look into specific ones. So I could search for anything where it's mentioning safety to just filter for those. So 494 retrieved. I can look into specific other questions here. I want to maybe only focus on companies. So I select all except no. Probably I should be a bit more specific in what is a company, because it also in this case added sometimes university. So you could also exclude things with university, for example. does not contain the university, to further filter down and also remove the nose, basically. So yeah, these are different things you can play with. It also depends a bit how you ask your question. So basically we have here all these different data points which you can still use, either if you want to use AI in a different way to come up with questions, or to do some kind of qualification and scoring leads, or you can immediately basically look into the emails. So let's say we wrap the text here and I do double click here. I can see the full emails, and let's make sure it's nicely aligned. All right, so here I can see for the first project, what's the icebreaker, what's the email 1, what's email 2. The second one again. So as you can see, I can see here all these emails for all these different projects, which you can basically, you see always the first part is missing, dear something. So you could basically load into an outreach system and have all these tailored emails just uploaded. You send them out and off you go. You have probably much higher reply rates. That's at least what our users are reporting. And that's also what we see ourselves when we use this kind of approach. So I highly recommend to at least try it out. Each user has 500 AI credits included in the subscription. If you want more, it's not expensive. We can give you access to a lot more credits, so that basically if you want to have 10,000 tailored emails, it's a couple of €100, and you basically have 10,000 leads, highly tailored emails for them that you could engage, generating probably a lot more than that couple of €100. So if there's something you want to try, if there's something you'd like to use, let me know. Happy to help out, to explain you how to connect the dots, basically to maximize your chances of generating great business results. All right, hope this was very helpful for you, and looking forward to hearing from you. All right, bye-bye.